Hello, I'm Steve Watcha. I'm the owner of Gypsy Blue Vineyards. We've been asked to go over this new tracking management tool and as a new vineyard, see what we like about it and how we've been using it.
I'm Nicholas Watcha. I'm the vineyard manager at Gypsy Blue Winery. I actually am a graduate of Michigan State University, and during my time in my undergraduate degree, I took a class through Dr. Karen Chow. And during this class, she had approached me with the opportunity to test this tool. And as a new winery, I feel like we have two big issues. The first is making sure we have clear communication between obviously myself and then my father, as he also helps me out in the vineyard a lot. It keeps track of us while also having an actual tracking map of what chemicals we're using and where we're using it. And what this allows is for me to basically start, say I'm spraying, I can start spraying in one field and then I can end it halfway through the field if the weather gets bad or if the wind picks up. And if Steve would like to look at it, it allows him to then go into the computer and then he can see an exact tracking map of to where I started and where I stopped. But one thing that we found that other than just chemicals really helped up with is the big ticket items as part of a vineyard that isn't chemical related. By that is we have used the same tool to start tracking putting in poles and wires for our trellis system, as well as using it for pruning. And we made this because one of the biggest things that we found is we would prune at different times of the day. I like to prune in the evening. He likes to prune in the morning. So basically what it allows us to do is one of us can start pruning on, let's say, our field 4. He can go halfway through. I can look at the end of the day, look at the map and see where he stopped, and I can pick up on the exact same plant and start working on it.
In the past, for us, before the tool, it was just a lot of communication has to be done between anybody that's working out at the farm. It was always, okay, where are we at? What are we doing now? And it was the same thing with using our spray chemicals. It was, okay, trying to remember, besides putting it down on a sheet of paper or on a dry erase board or something like that, what field needs to be done, what field doesn't need to be done, and what chemical needs to be used and what needs to be next. So the tool has really helped us go out there now and decide what field 4 really needs to get a fungicide going. For instance, it's budding out and the leaves are coming out now, whereas on field 5, it just may still be some bud swelling. So maybe that one doesn't need to be done right away. And it also allows us then maybe to keep on a little bit better schedule to show that instead of trying to remember, did I do that 2 weeks ago or was that 3 weeks ago? We can look back at the task and even put it on a forward task of maybe 2 weeks. But that really has helped us out on how we've been using it, is to do a lot more of our spraying, but also because it's still early in the season, we've used it more towards our non-spraying tasks like the pruning and deciding what poles need to go in next and things like that.
So I'd like to move on to some things that we've both found I think one of the biggest things is that there's an app allowed for it. I was concerned about, am I going to be able to take my laptop out on the tractor with me? But luckily there's a mobile app, so that has really made that process a lot simpler because now I can just open the app, start tracking, and everything can be done right in my pocket. I don't have to worry about carrying out a bulky laptop. But on top of that, the nice part about having it sync with your phone is that you get access to satellites. And so what this allows is you get extremely accurate maps of your work. So on the same tool, you can open up a previous task and look at the report, and it will have a map that is down to the foot of where you moved. And that's really helping us because as I said earlier, sometimes there's either people are stopping tasks if the weather changes, or we have to stop it to work on a different, more immediate project.
And I'll admit it, we've just started using this, so putting in the tasks and do everything else. Nick and his generation is a little more savvy on this stuff. For me, I've been using my phone basically to text, to email, and to call. So it takes me a little bit longer to get a task in, but the more I do it and the repetitiveness makes it easier. And that's what I told Nick too. I like it that I can actually take it right out to the field with me. And especially on the phone, if there isn't Wi-Fi, I can still use it off the 5G. So it is out there. And I think like Nick said too, a lot of it is you can actually see on your phone what field you're in, which it all depends on how you've set it up ahead of time. But they're all color-coded. They're all numbered. So definitely if there is a glitch or something, I know that I'm starting field 4. And if it doesn't look like I'm on field 4, then I know there's a problem and I have to change that. But that also then helps for people that don't know. Nick and I now are pretty familiar with all the different fields that we have, and I can tell, hey, Nick, go prune number 2, and he knows exactly where to go. But somebody else, we can show them on the map, this is where field 2 is, and it's actually in the satellite image, so they know what part of the farm field 2 is, and then they can go take care of that as far as that goes. That is one of the things that we really like about that with the chemicals, is that if it isn't a standard chemical or if our farm uses it, we can add that in pretty easily. And there's a lot of different chemicals already in a database that we can pull from, and we don't even have to worry about uploading it.
One of the things I like about that chemical database that's already added is that you do have access to the EP label, which is really nice because there are some chemicals that we're using that have already been added into the whole SAM tool system. So that allows me to click on it, and it prints and it shows me up a PDF of the label. And what I can then do is I can go immediately down to see what it's recommended for, how many pounds I need to use per acre, what's my dosage size. But I think on top of what we were saying about having it on your phone, the one thing I also really like is you have access to your camera, so you can do on-site scouting. I'm starting to take pictures of which ones are leafing out, which ones are starting to have really big bud swells, because we want to know at what point of the year are we expecting these vines on later dates. When are we expecting them to actually start leafing out and pruning?
And the good part right now is by taking those photos, right now in Michigan, it's never changing. And now we're supposed to have a frost this weekend. So we can actually compare the photo and say, oh, here was our Marquettes. It's a variety of grape that was starting to bud out and leaf out. What happened to it after 3 days of frost? It also allows us, even with that photo thing, even without the whole spraying, it's like I said, if there's a bug on it that we're not sure what it is, we can take a photo of it and we can find out what it is. We can find out what it does basically to the plant and how can we take care of it if we need to.
One of the big things that I want to work on this year, or I'm trying to work on in our vineyard, is figuring out the baseline of our chemical usage, so that way we can input it into our budget. So it's kind of nice to know ahead of time for financial planning and strategic planning, what are we looking to spend on it, and this whole record system will really help with that. And the other thing is you can print out all of your photos and all your tasks you've used, and I just think that's going to really help us out with streamlining and centralizing all of our records.
And I believe, too, that this application, like you said, is going to be helpful even with the insecticides and stuff. And we do it at least twice a year. We're going to have to do 7 because of Japanese beetles and things like that. And I think as a grower, that's the things that we need, is we need a tool to advance with us. And I believe that by using this is going to help us in the long run work with other people, get the tasks done. And like you said, track everything and keep records of it, because that's one thing we haven't done in the past.
I think it's been a great help and will continue to be great help, especially as we get more comfortable and it helps improve along with us. All right, well, thank you for your time.